Well, knowing that Mum misses this area, I've decided to do a short little video of this area so I can send it to her. She hasn't been here for about the last 5 years, I think, partly because of COVID and everything else. But at the same time, I thought I'd film this and show it to you guys to show why I love this area. It's, well, as you're going to see, we're smack in middle country. Yeah, we really are in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Well, we're in a village, but it's in the middle of nowhere. This is the valley de L'Allieur being the local river that runs through our village. Little girl there looking at a horse. Now this forest was seriously bombed during the Second World War, twice in fact. Once in 1940 by the Germans because they knew that the French and the English were meeting up. It was about the same time as Dunkirk was kicking off. And then in 1944, actually in 1944 it was bombed several times by the Allied forces. Once in an area called Laye because there was a big ammunitions depot which was completely destroyed. And then the second time, they knew the Germans were coming through here. We had the SS-12, which was part of the Hitler-Jungen that were camped out in this area. They weren't very nice people, really. We're going past a little hamlet called Vilaine, which only has about 10 houses altogether. A good friend of ours, Robert, lives here, who's an Englishman, whose mother was the secretary to Sir Winston Churchill before he was Prime Minister. She didn't like working for him because of the fact that he liked working in bed in his pyjamas, drinking whiskey and smoking cigars. So she left. This area here, in 1918, I've got a photograph somewhere, or a copy of a photograph of this area. You see railway tracks running along the side of the roads here. You see German prisoners being managed by the British Army. They were here to take wood, to make charcoal, obviously to heat themselves in the winter, but also to make ammonal, which is a form of explosive. The timber was also used to make reinforced trenches and buildings. And believe it or not, Lyons-La-Forêt during the First World War was used as a holiday destination for soldiers that come here and chill out. We're about to come into the village of Lyons, so I shall give you a quick guided visit if you like. But Lyons-La-Forêt was favoured by several artists. Claude Monet used to come to visit his friend, I think it's Émile Pissarro, who was another famous artist. You had Maurice Ravel that used to come to the village. He came twice in 1917 and 1921, whilst on holiday working on Mussorgsky's pictures at an exhibition. He was helping his mate out in that Maine. Now, most of the houses that you see here date from the 18th century. We were very lucky that during the war she was not bombed. The forest was bombed, as I said earlier on, but the village wasn't really. Lyons is where I had my first ever girlfriend. I was 9, she was 10, her name was Mine-Guerrou. I've never told her that. I mean, I see her often, but yeah, I never told her that. We shook hands, held hands, should I say. That was all we did. Didn't kiss, nothing. 9-year-old boy. That was romance. Now the house that you see in the background, just on the other side of that green there, there you go, that big house there. That was the house where Maurice Ravel spent a couple of summers, 1917 and 1921. It was also the headquarters for the resistance and for the German army at different times, obviously. But here is the village of Lyons. That building that you see in the background there, or the shelter, more like, is what we call L'Halle, which is the covered marketplace. And I'll be holding an exhibition there from the 29th of July to the 8th of August. If anyone's around, you're welcome to come and have a look. So we're going to go around here. Now on the right, you can't really see it, but there you go, quick shot there. On the right, that's the pharmacy in during the Second World War in 1943. There was the local pharmacist was a resistant. He received Frederick Forrest Joe Thomas, who was a Brit, who was born in England, obviously, brought up in Dieppe, fought with the Canadians during the First World War, and later became a member of the SOE in 1943, I think. Came to Lyons to forge, well, on his way to Paris to forge links with the resistance. He was caught on his second trip. He was beaten by Klaus Barbie, famous, what was it, the barber, not Barber Seville. I can't remember what his nickname it was, Klaus Barbie, but anyway, he was thrown into French prison, then thrown to Buchenwald concentration camp, where altogether there were 168 Allied airmen. He did something quite courageous, managed to escape by pretending to be dead. He swapped ID with a corpse that was there. His body was shipped out. Luckily he wasn't cremated or anything like that, which is quite often what happened in concentration camps. He managed to escape the German services and rejoin the front line to give them information to say that 168 airmen were being kept captive. I got to know two of them, two of the Allied airmen, because they fell around here. And on the right, that's number 2, that's our house where we live, and unfortunately you can't see it, but number 4 is just, I've just driven past it, but that's where we live. But you will see it in a moment. We're actually doing work on it, so it's not looking great at the moment at the front, but this is our lane, Chemin de la Fontaine-Resse, which, Josette, you might remember it because you were obviously around here, but the houses on the right are all, well, I say brand new, they're built about 30 years ago, so when you and Dave came along, those houses didn't exist. Neither did the houses on the right here. But as I turn here, look at that beautiful view of the forest you can see in the background there. Oh, that wasn't good. Just turning around. Now the only bad thing about living on this lane is, unfortunately, where you see the bush on the right there, that's the poo-poo plants. It's a water treatment area, and when the wind blows in the right direction, when you walk past it, it smells. Thankfully, it's not often that it smells. So apart from that, I mean, just look at that. I walk the dogs. We walk the dogs along here and absolutely love it. Take this out of the holder so that when we drive past you can see the house where I live. As say, there's work being done to it, so it's not in great condition. It's not that it's in great condition, but there you go. And there's my beautiful wife coming out looking grumpy. She's not though.